Hello, everyone. This is Varsha, and you are watching the series of success stories brought to you by Indian Achievers Forum. So, as you all know, the series is all about the prominent achievers of our country who have made India proud in some way or the other. The main focus of our series is to make you all know about the success and achievements of our prominent guest. So today, in the same sequence, we have with us Ms. Shilpa Kulshrestha, who is the founder and principal coach of Sintlet Private Limited. But before we actually start the conversation with her, let's quickly have a look at a very small video telling you about what we actually do.
Indian Achievers Forum is driven by a full-fledged advisory board. The board consists of experienced personalities who have excelled in their respective careers. Together, the forum organizes conferences, events, workshops, exhibitions, trade shows, and B2B initiatives in India as well as abroad. Where there is passion, there is achievement. And where there is achievement, there is Indian Achievers Forum.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Very well, Varsha. How are you doing?
I'm good, ma'am. Thank you so very much. Okay, so before we actually start the conversation, please tell us something about you and your profession.
Sure. Hi, Varsha. As you mentioned, I am a coach. I help people step into their best self. So, basically, what I do is I fill the gap between where the people are and where they want to be in terms of their career. Now, I work on two things. One, people who are in the corporate, who are in their mid career, and who are feeling that they are stuck, either because the work has become monotonous or it is not giving them the juices any longer. It may have given them juices in the past, but right now they're not finding it interesting and they feel stuck. I work with them to help them find their passion and help them get started on their path. Now the second thing that I do is that I work with people who are in the corporate who want to be coaches. Now these people want to be coaches, but because they've worked in the corporate, they don't know very well how to set up the business. And when I set up the business, it is not just about what they're passionate about, but setting a whole business model around it. So I work with those people to help them start their corporate, their coaching business and take it to a certain level so that one day when their income from their coaching business reaches a certain level, they can say goodbye to their day job and can become full-fledged coaches.
Right. So, ma'am, I would like to ask you that how did you actually land up to the idea of, starting up with this particular business as your profession?
Well, Varsha, if you ask, like it may seem that it was a well-planned thing, but actually it was not. I call myself an accidental entrepreneur. So I had 16 years of corporate career with the likes of Deloitte, Westpac, Tech Mahindra, the usual IT companies. And what happened was along the line, even though I had started my career with a huge fire in the belly, I was a national level ranker in my chartered accountancy, and it was all good when I started. I was really pumped up to do something significant in my life. But what happened was during the process, 10 years down the journey, I started I somehow got caught up with the things in life, things, and I call this stuff. Stuff happens. You get pregnant, you have kids, you start looking after them. You have so many things to handle in your day to day life that in your workplace you start giving your bare minimum, and this happens with a lot of women. So it happened with me, and without me realizing, I landed myself into mediocrity. And I didn't know it at that point of time, but very clearly I could see it on the day I became redundant. In fact, you know, I didn't realize it at all in all those years. And I thought I was still that A player, but I wasn't. So the day when I was made redundant in my company after a period of 9 years in that company, I realized, oh my God, I was not living up to my potential. I was just doing my bare minimum. And this was a huge, you would say, smack in my face, where I said, this is not done. I'm not proud of how I have been living for the last 5 years, and I have to get my control back in on my career. So I packed my bags, landed up at Tony Robbins' private island in Fiji, and I started working on myself, because the shape I was in, it wasn't something that I could have again gone back to the corporate. I didn't want to, and I wasn't clear what should I do. And I spent a few months working on myself. And in those months, I realized that there's a powerful self hiding inside me. And when I met that powerful self over a period of a few months, and I saw I saw my own transformation, I realized that it doesn't happen only with me. It happens with a lot of other people who get caught up in this average game, in this land of mediocrity, and they don't realize it till the time something big happens. And I always had this I always wanted to enable growth around me, and I had seen it from day one in my career. People will come to my team, and I would do everything to make them successful. So pulling that strength of mine, pulling the story where I had landed myself in mediocrity and was able to get myself out of it, I started working with the people to help them murder their mediocrity and step into an exceptional zone. And that's how I landed up in this coaching business. And since then, life has been great. I worked with I think 250 plus people across 12 countries, helping them beat their blockers, remove their challenges, and step into their exceptional life.
That's really very amazing, ma'am. Okay, so now moving ahead, talking about your journey. So, what sort of challenges were faced by you while moving ahead in your journey at your organization? Tell us a bit about that, please.
Well, I have a whole failure book. When I started, even though it seemed very, very rosy, I declared to the people that I'm going to become a coach. This is what I have done in my life, myself off on a journey too. It wasn't very easy. It wasn't very rosy behind the scenes. And the reason I say that is, when people are in the corporate, even though they are into sales, they are into business development, it is a whole different world. But when you jump into entrepreneurship, you have to sell yourself. So you have to stand in the market, and you have to tell people, this is what I am there for. This is what my worth is. And this is what I can do for you, and pay me for what I'm worth for. And it is not very easy. I can tell you, it is not very easy, because you have never done it. You may have done it for your company, but you have never done it for yourself. In the corporate, a fixed paycheck lands into your bank account every month. Even if you have some of those bad days, it just comes to your bank account. But in entrepreneurship, it's a totally different ball game. So I did have a struggle in selling my services. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know the ABC. I just knew that my product was good, and I was creating great results. But the process was very slow. The word of mouth process, the organic approach, it's very slow. So I did face challenges more in terms of the finances. And in about a period of, I think, 3 to 4 months of me starting the business, I got drained of all my money. So I was reduced to a point where I had just $568 left in my bank. And my husband has also jumped into this business with me a little before me. We both were doing it together with 2 daughters at home. It wasn't a rosy picture. But we kept going, and we did a few things so that we can manage our finances, took loans from our friends, we stopped our mortgage, we divided our house into 2 parts so that we can give one on rent. But one thing was very clear, that we are not going to give up. So we kept going, and I would say, like, now that I'm on this side of the wall, and I ended up making $500,000 in just first year of our business, I can say that most of us give away, we give up at a point, and it is just a little bit more. We give up at a point where, the hardships really start, we start seeing the hardships. But if we can keep going, it's just little bit more, and you can reach the other side of the, table or whatever you call it. Yeah.
Very rightly said, ma'am. Okay, so now can you please elaborate more about the services that your organization offers to its customers?
Yeah, in terms of the services, as I said, we help people close the gap where they are in their career and where they would like to be, and it is an individual choice. So I see, I I may be a coach. Not everyone wants to be a coach. So it is their definition. Where do they want to be? Do they want to fast track their career in the corporate? Do they want to get another job? Or do they want to get promotion? What is it? Or do they want to open a business? So wherever their dream is, firstly, I help them frame their dream, because what happens is most of us don't even know what we are capable of. We don't even have time in this busy life to sit and think about our dreams. Actually, weave a dream. So I help them. First step, remove all the blockers, all the challenges, all the limiting beliefs that they have been living their lives with. Because a lot of us, I didn't think yesterday that I could run this business, which is close to $1 million, and I'm impacting people across 12 countries. And it all sounds rosy today. But yesterday, I didn't know that this was my capability. So my first step is to help people understand what is their potential, and that for that I need to remove all those limiting beliefs, all those patterns which are not serving them well, break them, and then help them weave a dream, a concrete dream, and then hold their hands and help them actually walk the steps to that dream and achieve it. This is what I do in a nutshell. It may be in terms of career, or it may be in terms of the business. um, I help people get to where they would love to be.
Right, ma'am. So now, moving further, so talking about the future, so how does the future of your organization look like? I mean, what further plans do you have for the organization?
That's a very good question, Rosha, because at certain stage in life, I found myself asking this question to myself. Because until some time back, my products cater to, it's a high ticket item. It caters for the people who can really afford it. But I realized that there's a gap. There's a section of the people who cannot pay that much, or there's a section of the people who cannot pay anything. And what I have been doing is now working on those section of the people and having products which can cater to all all sectors of the society. Yes, there will be high ticket items. It will continue because the kind of impact that I'm creating through those programs, that's huge, that's immense. That has given people jobs over more than 100% in the times of COVID. That has helped people get promotion, two promotions in 3 years. That has helped people create businesses, successful businesses, help created coaches, help created version 2.0. So there are those programs, but along with that, there are programs that can serve those people who cannot afford those expensive programs. So I'm starting a lot of online programs as well, short online programs, and I have a summit coming up, which is where I've got speakers from all across the world. So which has world champions, billion-dollar CXOs, have got world-class coaches and some serial entrepreneurs who are coming together to give value to the people who are attending that summit. And that summit is absolutely free for the people who want to join it. So I wish to do more of these things where I can cater to every section of the society and can make each one of us, each sector.
That is something really very great. Moving ahead, I know it's always a very proud moment for someone when we get recognition for our work, but still I would like to know from you that what are your feelings on winning this Indian Achievers Award? What was your reaction when you actually got the news that you have been selected by the advisory board for the same?
The reaction, so if I tell you behind the scenes, the reaction was, really? Did I get it? It was that. At the same time, I want to really admit that I do not want to get hungry for these awards, because what I'm hungry for is the impact that I am making. it feels great when we receive these awards. It shows that people are noticing the impact that you are creating, the results that you are creating, and it is a great validation of the whatever little work I am doing. So it feels great from that perspective, and you feel great to be recognized. It is a milestone, definitely a milestone, and I feel great. In fact, my family feels absolutely proud of me for this. For me, it is a validation of what I've been doing, and I hope I continue on the path to create much bigger impact and continue to make this world a much better place.
And I once again congratulate you on the achievement, ma'am. Okay, so now moving ahead, though you are living abroad, but still you must be knowing about the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan that is going on in India right now. What are your views or thoughts on this particular campaign? Please tell us a bit about that.
Whatever I know about it, I feel that it is in line with what I have been asking people to do. Take control of your career. Take control of your career. And I say that you should be self reliant. So the day when I was made redundant, the worst feeling that I had to go through was, how could somebody press the button on me and tell me that you need not come to office from tomorrow? Well, it was not tomorrow, it was 5 months. I still had 5 months. But how could somebody have that control? So it is the responsibility of each of us. It is our 100% responsibility to be self-reliant and do something where, tomorrow you have options. So you should be dependent only on yourself and not on your employer. Tomorrow anything can happen in this world. The job market is decreasing. It will completely change tomorrow. So it is your responsibility, your 100% responsibility, to take care of yourself and your aspiration.
Absolutely. Okay, so now before concluding our lovely session, what piece of advice or message you would like to give to our, today's generation who wish to be a successful entrepreneur someday?
Well, I have a lot to say to them. Everyone should be an entrepreneur at least once in their life. And it is not about, it is somebody who has already done it. Hold the hands of someone who has done it already and walk the path with them. Now you will make your own set of mistakes, but at least you will not make the ones which they did. And it will reduce a huge number of years in your journey. And for the young entrepreneurs, I have got my 16-year-old daughter, and she has a lot of inclination towards business, and I'm encouraging her to start her own business. So if you can do it, earlier people used to say, oh, and my parents too, that work with somebody for a while, learn it, and then open your own. But go into job first. But that's not true. It's good that you don't know anything about it. When I jumped into entrepreneurship without a business background, without anybody knowing in my family about business, I think it was such an advantage because I didn't know the rules. And because you don't know the rules, there's no limitation. So young people who want to start their business, who want to get into entrepreneurship, you are there at the best time. You can run it whatever way you want. Use your imagination. There's no limit, and just make it. It is not the milestone that matters. It is what you become in the journey of entrepreneurship that really counts.
So true, ma'am. So thank you so very much for joining us today. It was pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors, and may you continue to inspire us the way you are doing. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Varsha. Thank you so much.